Hi guys, welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast. So we've been doing a lot of Wolf Among Us content recently, and Jack and I thought, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we let AI predict season 2? So this is what we've put in the this is what we've requested from ChatGPT. Please write the first episode of Wolf Among Us season 2, episode 1. Please include 5 major choices for the player and talk about certain characters and the themes and stories they have. You will need to include the big mystery/crime for the game. After the events of season 1, Bigby left Fabletown and has come back. Please create a premise for season 2. So yeah, firstly, we just want to kickstart by saying that we wanted to add 5 choices in there, the same way you would get in a classic Telltale episode. And then we thought we'd help the AI, out a little bit by creating a little bit of a premise of the idea that Bigby's left Fabletown and he's come back. Because I guess we didn't want it to be too similar to season 1. We wanted to give it its own flavour. So yeah, without further ado, Jack, I'll let you read the title of the episode and the synopsis.
Okay, so the title is Shadows of the Past, and the synopsis is as follows. Set several years after the events of Season 1, Bigby Wolf reluctantly returns to Fabletown after receiving a mysterious message hinting at a new threat. As he steps back into the role of sheriff, he quickly realises that things have changed. Old friends and enemies have moved on, and new faces have emerged. The city is on edge, and tensions are running high.
And here are 5 characters that will be coming up in season 2. Starting with number 1, we've got Bigby Wolf, the reclusive sheriff with a troubled past, known for his fierce determination and ability to transform into a wolf. He's haunted by the events of season 1 and carries a sense of guilt for not being able to prevent certain tragedies.
Snow White, still the deputy mayor of Fabletown, Snow is more cautious and reserved than before. She's seen the city go through a lot and is determined to maintain order and protect the Fable.
Beauty and Beast are back. Struggling with their own personal issues, Beauty and Beast are trying to find their place in the changed Fabletown. They are conflicted between their own desires and the responsibilities they have towards their community.
Oh, we've got a newcomer, Rose Red. So Rose Red is Snow White's estranged sister, and she's recently arrived in Fabletown seeking refuge. Her presence brings both hope and tension as she tries to rebuild her life.
And we have a new antagonist for the game, the Eclipse Cult. A mysterious cult has emerged in Fabletown, wielding dark magic and threatening the safety of the Fables. Their ultimate goal remains unknown, but their influence is spreading. Now, Jack, I don't know what you think about these characters, but I quite like some of the new additions there, as well as the fact that it seems like Snow and Bigby get a bit of theme in there as well. So, for example, Bigby, we get good old Bigby, but with a bit of guilt maybe. That could be an interesting dynamic. And then you've got Snow in there, who's got a kind of look out for her estranged sister potentially while trying to run Fabletown. I could see maybe her relationship being a bit frosty with Bigby because maybe he skipped out and now he's back and there could be tension there. So yeah, sounds like a really good foundation for a season 2, lad.
It does, because obviously if I'm going by my playthrough, there wasn't the exact, the greatest dynamic between Snow and Bigby come the end of season 1 after I ripped the crooked man's head off. But so when it says that he's got a sense of guilt, I'm like, yeah, sure, mate, I understand. But then, yeah, of course, you then got this newcomer Rose Red on top as well. I don't know, does that mean Little Red Riding Hood, or is she going to be completely out of it? Is that what they've done there? But yeah, I mean, it brings something new to the table, doesn't it? So I'm all for it, and especially this Eclipse Cult as well. It's sort of like a nice difference from what we had in season 1.
I'm trying to link it as well to the trailer, and it almost could be like Rose Red could be that girl who's on the sofa, who's just kind of chilling while Bigby's attacking those people. And it could be that the Eclipse Cult is with the 2 villains inside that flat, and you had that little scarecrow kind of guy. So it already could be that is your Eclipse Cult, mate.
It could well be, and I'm impressed by your memory on that trailer. I need to go
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we've got redemption and second chances. Season 2 explores the theme of redemption as characters grapple with their past mistakes and seek to make amends. Bigby, Rose Red, and others must confront their own demons while trying to protect the community.
Identity and transformation. The fables who have the ability to assume different forms struggle with questions of identity and the choices they make in their new lives. This theme is epitomised by Bigby's constant struggle with his wolf form.
Trust and betrayal. Trust is fragile in Fabletown, and characters must navigate a web of allegiances and loyalties. Betrayal looms on the horizon, and players must decide who to trust in their quest for the truth.
So yeah, I mean, it just seems like classic sort of Fabletown, doesn't it? Like a bit of tension, trust issues, maybe like neglect with each other. Harping back to what was said at the Eclipse cult, I like the idea of like the Eclipse cult's influence spreading. And I can already see it, can't you? Where you've got like characters from season 1, maybe you've got people like Jack and Grendel who are like kind of like getting influenced by this cult, and you might have old sort of allies and stuff who are like aligning themselves with the bad guys, and it could be interesting doing the whole thing where you've got to pick who to align with, who to trust, who not to trust. So yeah, like I mean, it does seem a little generic, but yeah, definitely something the game could work with.
What I was thinking as well, you've got like 2 sisters in there, and it makes me wonder if, like, let's just say this was the finished thing, if there's a temptation, which, to be fair, they could do it for real this time because they did con people into thinking it happened in season 1, but maybe Snow could get killed off early doors, and then people won't be thinking, oh, they're trying to pull the same trick again. Or it could be that she really does get killed off, and then you've got her sister, this girl that's seeking refuge, trying to find her place in the world. She then has to go on an arc, with Bigby to sort of come into a position where she's sort of found herself again. So yeah, I like the fact as well that they've got the whole identities thing, like perhaps the glamour can make a return in some way. That's thing from like Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us season 1. The whole like trust element could like really be hyped up even more, because if you've got certain characters in certain moments like dressed as somebody else, it could really make them dialogue scenes like more important, so yeah.
It mentions as well that like Bigby struggles with his wolf form, and it could be like, are we getting faulty glamour, or are we having glamour that's got an adverse effect? Or maybe this like Eclipse cult have somehow tainted the glamour, and then we're getting faults with it. So yeah, that could really be like an interesting dynamic to like put a random mix of problems into season 2. Mystery/crime. So a series of ritualistic murders have been occurring in Fabletown, all seemingly connected to the Eclipse cult. The victims are fables who have a dark past, raising questions about the motivations behind the killings. As Bigby investigates, he uncovers a web of secrets that threaten to unravel the fragile place in Fabletown. That's interesting. So it might be that like the murders are coming from vigilantes. So it might be that they have like, good intentions, but it's kind of going against sort of like Snow's by the book methods that, you and Snow have put out. So yeah, that is actually really interesting. I like it when a villain isn't just evil. I like it when they've got their reasons, and it really sort of challenges like philosophical thinking. Yeah, I don't know what you think of that, mate.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing I was thinking as well is that where it says about that, the victims are fables who have a dark past, you sort of think back to season 1, don't you? And you're like, who is it that survives the events of season 1 and has something that you could argue as a dark past? And what makes that interesting as well, and this is where you come in with like the whole philosophy thing, is that's very much down to the judgment of the Eclipse cult. That's how they interpret someone's past is determined on whether they kill them or not. So like, do you know what I mean? Like whether it's a character, the Crooked Man is perhaps like an obvious one, like if he's still alive, that you could sort of kill him off because, A, he can get killed off in season 1 anyway, but B, because of the way he sort of like ran the show and enslaved people. But then if you're sort of looking at potentially like, I don't know, like a Grendel, for example, like their use of violence, do you know what I mean? Like, is that worthy of them to get killed off? You don't know. It's very much subjective to the cult. So it'll be interesting to see the reasoning.
I like the idea as well of like whoever the leader of this cult is, or at least a major player in the cult, being someone from season 1 that we know. And it gets us thinking, out of all the characters we've met before, who could it be? and then for them just to really surprise us with like, oh yeah, it's Flycatcher, or I don't know, it's Lily or something, or not Lily, Holly. So yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of ways, like paths they can go with that one.
Yeah, we're now going to move on to the major choices of episode 1. So the first one is confrontation with Rose Red. Bigby must decide whether to trust Rose Red despite her troubled history. His choice will impact their relationship and influence how she integrates into the community.
Alliance with the Crooked Man. Okay, so this is assuming we imprisoned him. Bigby has the option to seek information from the imprisoned Crooked Man, a notorious figure from Season 1. This choice could provide valuable leads, but at the cost of potentially compromising his principles.
Yeah, the only way you could work around that is if the guy whose head I ripped off, it was someone wearing glamour. It wasn't actually the Crooked Man, but I don't know, it's a bit of a stretch. But yeah, so number 3, reconciliation or estrangement for Beauty and Beast. Bigby can choose to help Beauty and Beast mend their relationship or further drive a wedge between them. The choice will have consequences for their personal growth and their ability to contribute to the investigation.
Confronting the Eclipse Cult. Bigby must decide whether to approach the Eclipse Cult with force or attempt a more diplomatic approach. The choice will determine the level of resistance he faces and may affect future interactions with the cult.
And a confrontation with Snow White. The player will face a crucial decision regarding Snow White's involvement in the investigation. Trusting her instincts or pursuing an alternative lead could drastically alter the course of the story. That one's interesting if you consider what I said earlier about Snow potentially dying. I think that would be a pretty cool thing, especially with the top one as well, how you sort of deal with Rose Red, because if Snow gets killed off and you've treated Rose Red badly, then, there's friction there. If she gets killed off and it's good, it might help the arc, but yeah, interesting.
I can easily see them going for that. Snow White and Rose Red have two different sort of like ideologies, and kind of they clash a bit, and they make you pick which one you want to go with. And it might be that like Snow White thinks you should go to one location, Rose Red thinks you should go to another, and like the way we have to either go to the pawn shop or the butcher, that was something that would always happen in Season 1. I love the idea of whichever choice you pick location wise could actually affect a relationship as well. So yeah, that's definitely a dynamic you can add on to this game already. It looks like 3 of the choices we have here are all to do with confrontation. So it looks like Bigby's got to do a lot of relationship juggling almost.
I was going to say, he's been thrown back in the deep end, hasn't he, upon his return to Fabletown, it seems. Yeah.
Day 1 on the job, and he's already got to deal with all of this shit. The Crooked Man one's interesting because, obviously, you could kill him, you could throw him down the witching well, you can rip his head off, or you can imprison him and potentially turn him into a bird. So this is under the assumption that he's turned into a crow. So it's quite interesting. It's almost like you've got to get anti-Greenleaf to reverse the magic. And also, does this mean that we get to visit the farm, which is this heavily talked about place in Season 1? So that'd be really cool. And then obviously we've got Beauty and Beast. I don't really get how they'd be involved in the sort of community aspect, which this kind of bio's really giving us, but still awesome to see that they get to play a big part of this sort of whip up, dreamed up Season 2, mate.
Yeah, and going back to Beauty and Beast, we know because of the events of Season 1 that they had some financial difficulties, didn't they? They're not living the life that they believe they're entitled to, and obviously there was the whole furore with the Crooked Man because of that, and we all know how financial things can impact. So do you know what I mean? There's a little bit of real world influence in there. So yeah, do you know what I mean? It all sounds like it's pretty viable. It's it's whether it's anything like the actual thing, mate.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, let us know what you think of this idea for a Season 2. Tell us if you'd be happy if this was the Season 2 we were given. And let us know what you would do to make sure Season 2 is not a train wreck of a Telltale series again. So yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this AI series. Let us know if there's any other sort of AI videos you want us to do and ask AI for you. But otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we will see you in the next one.
See you later.